racial preference?
What's a racial preference?
What's a racial preference if it's not discrimination based on race?
Erwin, are you going to answer that very well-phrased question?
Yes.
Directly?
Directly.
All right.
No college or university ever has accepted students based on just grades and test scores. College and universities always look to a wide range of factors in terms of what the student can add to the student body and the diversity of the school. I mentioned geography. I mentioned legacies. I taught for a long time at USC. I'd venture to say the football players there had lower grades and test scores than other students. Or I taught at Duke. The basketball players probably graded lower grades and test scores. That's because they brought some other talent to the forefront. There are a much larger pool of students who are qualified to do the work than the number will be accepted. And so in deciding among them, many factors go into consideration. It is not discrimination to say that one of the things that's considered, in addition to athletic talent or legacy, is also what does a student add based on his or her race to the diversity of the school. It's wrong to equate preference with discrimination.
Yeah. Stuart Taylor.
I think the case that's made publicly, there is no doubt that the grades and test that many Asians with grades and test scores far higher than anybody else's are being rejected by colleges because they're Asians. There's no doubt about that at all.
Do you doubt that?
Yes, because
Okay.
they're Asians. Absolutely.
I think because they're Asians, but the rationale not used here tonight, but often used for this is, well, the people we're accepting are better in other ways. They have better leadership qualities. They contribute more diversity, whatever. This is a slur on Asian Americans. The idea that, well, if they have higher test scores and grades, they've got other qualities that aren't as good. And a quick point on test scores and grades. Erwin, I think, said all of us would be against large racial preferences. Well, I think we just won the debate. If all you have to establish is that the racial preferences are large, that's undisputed. There are 300 to 400 SAT point average differences in a lot of the colleges. There are corresponding GPA differences. There are huge achievement differences within the college, and that's pretty large.
No, but we're not debating. We're not arguing here about what's the best form of affirmative action. The resolution you're asked to vote on is, does equal protection forbid racial preferences? In order to vote affirmative, you have to conclude that all racial preferences, however small, are unconstitutional. No court case has ever said that.
I also want to just make a quick point. You said that there are large racial preferences is undisputed. That's not true. There are many people, many prominent social scientists who dispute everything that you've said before. Erwin mentioned Richard Lempert, Ian Ayers, Richard Brooks, Derek Bach. They've all disputed the points that you're making. And I think we need to take a step back because everyone else is using the term preference. I'm not, because I don't think it's a preference. What universities are doing, hundreds of universities around the country, what they're doing is looking at the whole application. It's not a preference. If it was a preference, we'd have far more than 20% Black and Latino students at most colleges and universities. I also want to dispute the use of the word discrimination. Erwin mentioned this. There is no symmetry between race-conscious measures that seek to include traditionally excluded groups and invidious discrimination that seeks to include people because of a sense of superiority or hatred.
All right.
Those are not the same thing.
Deborah.